Hey, what's up everyone, Raging Golden Eagle here, having way too much fun as always. And this seems like a simple concept, doesn't it? If you're just sitting there minding your own business and somebody starts some shit with you, you have to be willing to defend yourself. It's seriously getting really annoying seeing all these moralist idiots go around basically saying that if you fight back in any way against an aggressor, then you are somehow just as bad as them. Hell, even when it comes to not literally fighting. For example, even talking about SJWs getting triggered at something and then trying to ban and or change it will summon a legion of cucks shrieking, "Hey, you don't even realize that you're whining about people whining, right? How pathetic are you? You're just as bad as them." And you know what? This is exceptionally annoying because it's specifically because of idiots like this and those dumb enough to actually listen to them that we keep getting shafted. Because let's face it, while we may laugh at the SJWs, their spurg-out tactics actually work. For a practical example, all it took was a few gaming media sites, and I've gone over multiple times just how irrelevant they are. All it took was for them to spurg out over a few features and storylines in Fire Emblem Fates for Nintendo of America to censor it and ruin it for everybody else. And you know what? I bet they had no second thoughts about doing it either, and I don't blame them. Because, quote, our side, unquote, is overrun with morons who will keep supporting them no matter what they do. Hell, I even had a few of these mental midgets trying to brush away the fact that Crunchyroll blatantly lied to their customers about censoring a game as if it was no big deal at all. And I bring all this up to get to this point. The attacks will not stop. The companies will not stop giving in to said attacks until you stop listening to the cucks and grow some balls and actually start fighting back. You gotta realize that part of the reason people keep attacking you is because they know they can get away with it. They believe you are either too weak to fight back or they're quite sure you won't fight back. For example, women hitting men who are like 3 times their size and could knock them out in one punch. And what's going on with these companies is practically the same thing. If the companies know you will just bend over and take it no matter what they do, then they have literally no reason to listen to you and to not give in to the SJW whiners. They know that if they appease the whiners, you're gonna buy their shit anyway. It's win-win. All you have to do is look at it from their perspective and you'll understand exactly why they do this. On one side, they got moral authoritarian busybodies shrieking, "We don't like this thing, remove it or we will manufacture a moral panic against you." And meanwhile, on the other side, they see nothing but cucks going, "Well, it's not like this affects the game in any way, I'll still buy it. It's just a minor thing." If you were a company focused entirely on making money, which is why companies exist in the first place, which side would you stand on if you saw this? Oh, and speaking of these cucks, holy shit does it get annoying seeing them trying to claim credit for a victory that we achieve in spite of them, not because of them. For example, Gamergate. These do-nothing cucks take the credit for the win because they happen to be on the winning side, and thus therefore it was obviously their methods that won the battle, right? All the while vilifying those who actually did all the work and won the fight. Let's just say I understand completely why Mr. Medicare, then known as Internet Aristocrat, abandoned the movement entirely after doing so much for it. After all his hard work, the thanks he got was a legion of cucks moving in to take over now that he did all the hard work and all the hard and risky stuff was done, and then deciding that they now get to be the moral authority here and they get to determine what everyone is allowed to do. And then, of course, claiming the credit for the win. And while on this topic, imagine for a second where we would be if morons like this were the majority 20 years ago. If when the busybodies were fighting to censor violence in games like Mortal Kombat, the response they got was just, the blood and guts have no impact on the gameplay at all. As long as the game is intact, I don't care. Hell, it's possible we'd have nothing but Care Bear games at this point, as the censors always just keep taking more and the cucks always want to keep letting them have it. I know what some of you are thinking. Oh, I'm clearly an extremist unwilling to compromise. Well, funny enough, I actually did a video a few months ago on that very topic. The main problem is our side is the only one willing to compromise. As I've said before, and again did a whole video on, I don't even care if they censor a game as long as an option exists for me to uncensor it. This can be done in many ways, like via a toggle to turn the censorship on or off, kind of like the blood and gore sliders they compromised on decades ago, separate censored and decensored releases, a decensor patch, whatever. But it's the other side that is unwilling to accept this compromise because, and I quote, that would defeat the purpose of the censorship. They are unwilling to work with us, so as far as I'm concerned, they must be destroyed by us if we want them to stop destroying what we love. And before anyone tries to say that this would somehow be too much extra work for them to do, they already went through all the extra work to censor something. Removing content, disabling features, completely altering the art in a lot of cases. If they already went through the work to do all of that, it's not hard at all to create a decensor patch, to make 2 different builds of the game, or to even add a menu item that cycles between 2 sets of assets. Literally the only reason they don't do it is because they don't want to, because, as I quoted earlier, that would defeat the purpose of the censorship. So given all of this, what do we do? At this point, honestly, it seems that the only way to stop companies from pulling a Marvel and silently killing themselves as the silent majority abandons them is for the silent majority to stop being so damn silent. We need to let them know in no uncertain terms that they stand to lose a lot more by giving in to the moral authoritarian busybodies, the Puritans, SJWs, any other type of censors, than they would by keeping things as is. Or hell, even purposely poking them for the free advertising. So don't listen to all the cucks you see out there. Get louder when you are discontent. Because again, we may make fun of them for it, but as the SJWs have proven, companies actually listen if you do that. That old saying, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, exists for a reason. And to address those saying, oh, it's their product, they can do what they want with it, you guys are absolutely right. But who gains from them going the way of Marvel? They pretty much slowly become unemployed, you lose something you love, the SJW locusts just move on to a new hobby to destroy, so who wins? Sure, it's their product, but companies can only exist as long as there are customers buying the product. There is only so much appeasing non-customers at the expense of actual customers they can do before all the customers simply disappear. For example, if the government came down and said, you guys are gonna censor this or it's gonna be against the law, I can actually sympathize with the company there. At that point, the true enemy reveals itself as being the government, and that's where we have to move the fight to. But all the fighting aside, I don't think there's anybody out there that wouldn't consider it a reasonable course of action to actually, censor yourself if threatened with legal action. By a legitimate authority, mind you, not just some random people on the internet shrieking they're gonna sue you. But anyway, while some companies may screw up so bad that they can be written off entirely, like lying to your face and then doubling down on the lies, for instance, most of them should at least be given a chance to get back on the right track. And the problem is, they're not even gonna know they are fucking something up if the silent majority stays silent about it until what they used to love is warped beyond recognition and then they silently leave. And hell, while we're at it, don't forget, never miss an opportunity to show the numerous examples of how irrelevant the other side of this so-called discussion really is. Because let's face it, they are unwilling to put their money where their mouth is. The cases of get woke, go broke are increasing seemingly on a daily basis. So don't miss the chance to write these all down and use these cases to show companies where their future lies if they follow the same path. And on a final note, you guys know me, I'm all about picking your battles. I know you can't fight every fight that comes your way, and you may have something that you view as more important to attend to first. If you do happen to have other battles to fight then against censorship, or as I like to call it, thought policing, does that make it a little bit more important now? But either way, I actually understand if you have more important things to fight right now. But at the very least, don't get in the way of the people doing the fighting and basically actively help the enemies while you do so. Which is exactly what the cucks I've been railing on in this entire video are doing. But either way, if you won't speak up and defend what you love from the moral authoritarian busybodies, nobody else will, and you will lose it all forever. And if you follow the cucks and just silently taking everything they throw at you, then honestly, you deserve whatever you get. And that's all I gotta say, guys. Thanks for listening.